Howdy friends, Mystery here, and today we've got a lovely range build for the Skitarii. Now, I think that out of the three abilities, the ranged auto-aim ability is probably the weakest right now. Not to say it's not useful, but for Havoc, where you have that limited ammo capacity, that is going to be a detriment to playing this, of course. And right now, full disclosure, there's a bit of a bug going on where if enemies are strafing or they're suppressing you or any sort of thing is throwing off your aim, for whatever reason, it just completely breaks the auto-aim ability, so you actually won't hit your target. Fortunately, for our purposes today, the arc rifle here is capable of just hitting the target anyway, because of course it doesn't really require to aim at all, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, we just kind of aim in the general direction and go boom, 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 and everything and drops dead. This thing can put out some very impressive damage. It's quite surprising, honestly, given that it's supposed to be like an AoE horde clear weapon, it ends up just being a kill everything weapon. But with that being said, let's begin here. I think you can choose whatever melee weapon you like. Again, I like the shock maul here. Just a really good weapon to 1-2 punch and set up enemies for being vulnerable with that high voltage bonus, because that's obviously going to be very effective against your electrocuted enemies. We're taking a ton of stuff at the top of the tree up here that's all about electrocuting enemies. And, you know, getting toughness when we're hitting them. We're going to gain more damage against them. We're going to make them more brittle. So this is an obvious fit for us. You could use this as the arc maul, whatever you prefer. This is my choice, preferred in this slot. Then we're going to talk about the arc rifle itself, and this is where you'll need to start copying my homework. So right here, we are going to need to take minimum mobility. Then as far as perks, flak armored and crit. Crit is just super important on this gun. Crits are pretty much all of your additional damage. I want to show you something here. Headshots don't do anything on this weapon. See this? It's nearly identical. It's like a 7% damage buff. However, critical shots are dealing 50% at least more damage. So that's a big deal to be getting crits. Here, it's going to be the massive way that we scale our damage. Both base damage and critting is really important. But note that this weapon, since this weapon like basically doesn't get any headshot bonus, we don't care about aiming for heads, aim for chest level, and go for the win. And that means we're going to go critical chance and then cavalcade for even more critical chance. It's going to give us up to the 30% crit mark on this weapon alone. And that's why we're going to grab Charm Reload down here. One of the things that's the worst about this weapon is the reload speed. It's like this. Not great, right? But if you have this much crit in your build, well, when you build up your crit chance, you can see my ammo there in my HUD. Once you built up to the maximum attack speed, you aren't going to be consuming almost any ammo, right? It's gonna have a really high percentage of chance of reloading those shots like this. And then once we activate our ability, even better. It's even better at not consuming that ammo like that, right? So that's what we can look forward to here with this build. And by the way, if you're noticing my custom UI, all my mods are back working. I'll have a pack up for members roughly by the time you see this video. I'll get something up. There's a couple mods that are still tweaking in here, but we'll be okay. We'll be able to rock through it, and I'll get a better one up afterwards. Okay, so that's what we're going with here. The reason we're using Charm Reload there is just so we can extend this magazine a really long way. Effectively, with all of our buffs going, this can extend the magazine like 5 times its normal depth, which means 200 shots, which is pretty nice. Okay, for Curios, you can just go for whatever you want, as far as, you know, well, not whatever you want, but whatever I got here. Toughness all the way across. Combat ability regeneration is super important for this ability because we're using 5 stacks. And the more stacks you have, the better combat ability regeneration is. Then we'll take ally revive speed, and I was using toughness, but I think that was just because I was in this area of the tree before. This would be best probably swapped out with like gunner resist or just flat toughness itself. One of those is probably going to be fine. Let's go over here and check out the talent tree. So the talent tree is very interesting this time. Let's start over here on the left. We're going crits right here. We're going crits build capacitance. We're taking residual current buffer. We're taking sequence charge, then data sensor protocol, and then red line capacitors here with the extra charges. And on ability use, you gain 5% strength for each charge you had on use for 10 seconds. Keep that in mind, okay? So this is 25% strength right here. Then we're going to grab auto repair doctrines here, shock line breach protocol, capacitor reclamation loop, system shock, like entropic transfer, weakness analysis doctrine, and retribution conduit, which is going to give us 10% damage versus electrocuted, increased by 5% per current charge. Keep that in mind, right? And then we're going to come back over here to binary ballistics protocol. We're going to head to the left and grab Mobian conductor and augmented power cycler, superior defense engrams, ammunition deposit, assassination protocol, threat direction imperative, galvanic marking array, and ammo cell augury. ammunition restoration pod, and finally we're capping off with our ability, advanced combat doctrines here. Advanced combat doctrines will grab ammunition enumeration, piercing sight, and calculated priority. So let's add up the damage buffs that can apply to our guy here. First of all, we have an additional 30% crit chance right here, very juicy. We have 6% over here, so that's 36 on top of our weapon that had 30, and then we have an additional like roughly 7 from the class. So we're sitting at a nice high juicy amount of crit right there alone. Yeah, this thing is going to be a crit monster. Then we have this calculated priority thing here. This is up to 25% damage when you're killing elites. Very easy to kill elites with this gun because it's just going to be jumping around and hitting them all. Then we can also get up to 20% damage here from killing even more elites with, you know, with range, which is kind of our whole job, right? So we're at 45% increased damage right there. Then we can get extra damage versus captains. That can also apply to elites, but we'll kind of skip over that. We can get 15% more when we activate our ability. So for at least 10 seconds, we got up to 60% damage. Now, when we jump up here, Retribution Conduit, damage versus electrocuted increased by 5% per current charge. So for the first charge of this ability, when you activate it, you're getting 35% damage versus electrocuted, which is electrocuted because we're zapping them, right? And we're making them more brittle. So we're at about double damage at this point because we're embrittling them. We're having 35% extra damage. We're having 25% extra damage. We're having 20% extra damage. We're getting pretty close to double damage. And then down here, or sorry, over here, we have this 12.5% strength on gaining a charge. So we could cap that off. And then we have 25% strength here for each charge on use. So yeah, when you start firing with this gun, you have a massive number of damage buffs that are applying to you. So let me show you here, like if we have a boss here, it doesn't actually, like, you wouldn't think this would be the case. But what we can do is actually like we can shoot and we can activate our ability and stall for the first 4 seconds like this. If you ever really want to save like your ammunition, you can do this. And then we can just go in on this boss. That is not bad damage at all. And keep in mind, I don't actually have to be aiming for his head. Like, I can just aim wherever. And look, like I can really, like, you know, I could be doing whatever else. This could be hitting any number of other enemies too. This boss could be around other targets. But look at that. Without even getting halfway through our magazine, bada bing, bada boom, we're done there. And yeah, that's pretty cool, right? It looks like I ran out of ultimate charge, by the way, but it's just a glitch with the UI. So yeah, that's the power that we have here, is we can just go full auto. And even when, like, look at this, even when you're not in your ultimate ability, that is still a very respectable amount of damage. And same with on the Crusher, right? We have plenty of ammo here. There's really no reason not to just blow stuff up, aim for chest level, explode it. There you go. And crits are so good in this gun. Look at how much damage these crits are able to do. 1,200 damage to flak, just instantly exploding them. So yeah, this gun is awesome. It is definitely worth building around. And yeah, I love this setup. You're just going to be clearing through hordes. If stuff does get close to you, you can still use this gun to clear them away from you. You're going to be gaining so much capacitance back when you're just firing this kind of passively, because look, we not only are going to get extra capacitance generation from redline capacitors here, but we can get extra when we hit crits. We can get extra when we hit 3 or more enemies with arcs, obviously, right? And we get 1% more every single second. We don't take this one because we don't get headshot kills, right? But outside of that, like, we get a ton of capacitance back very, very quickly by just routinely shooting enemies, and then we just go rinse and repeat. So yeah, hog all the ammo, go wild out there. This build is super fun. I hope you enjoy some more gameplay of it, and thanks for watching. See you soon, Mr. Young. Bye-bye.